is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Optimize You podcast. We are the podcast helping you optimize feeling and looking your best every single week. If you're new to the podcast, make sure you subscribe. If you're not new, make sure you share it with a friend, coworker, family member. We appreciate all the help. And now in today's podcast, what do you think about like just goals and how important they are to somebody's success?
Yeah. So I think this is always a tricky one, right? Because I think it depends on the person and who you're talking to. So I think context is everything. But let's just say, generally speaking, for myself and what I have my clients do is like, you got to have a target, right? Like you have to aim for something. And I'll tell you why is because the reason for people are always like, don't set goals. You know, some people, I see the downside to setting goals, but here's my thoughts on it. I feel like if you have a strategy and you have this North Star and you have something that you're going towards that you're actually ambitious about, that you actually give a shit about, it's going to allow your decision-making in the process to be so much easier. And when you're off, like, how do you get right back on track so that you're off, you know, your quote unquote off is not too far off, where you and I have talked in pods before where it's like, okay, we can use a couple weeks to our advantage and get right back into the rhythm of things and lean out a little bit and be right back in the game, you know? And so that's what I think of like being in shape, looking and feeling amazing year round, 365, right? So that's what we're talking about. And so in terms of if that's your goal too, and that's who we're speaking to, then I think goals are super important. I think we've talked about it on a pod before, is when you and I personally don't have goals, like, dude, we're drifters. Like we just by default, right? We just start drifting. We get a little fluffy. We start making those ice cream and pizzas a little bit more frequently throughout the week. I'll loosely track. I know you don't even track, but for me, loosely tracking is like not tracking at all. And so like, you know, I'll do stuff that doesn't make its way onto my Fitness Pal, like, you know. And so I think having a goal, having something that you're striving and working towards, if your goal is to look good and feel good year round, then you absolutely need to have a target, because it'll make your decision making in the process so much easier, because this whole thing is about the decisions that we choose to make on a day-to-day basis. And if you're filtering through a lens and you have a vision and you have a North Star and you're like, okay, yes, all the decisions need to add up to that thing, it's easier to say yes and no to things. It's easier to decipher what's good for you, what's bad for you, what's productive, what's counterproductive, how much willingness are you, able to have on the counterproductive side while still making progress, because we don't have to be perfect. And I think it just makes the decision making so much easier, man. What do you think?
Yeah, man. Oh, I think it's huge. Like having something that's like bigger, that you're on top, that maybe like it's even more of like a why, right? I think that's even what it is. Like because the goal is, like you said, it's to, maybe for somebody it's like, I want to, look a certain way, I want to feel a certain way, I want to look and feel my best. Like that's kind of vague. But like kind of narrowing that down a little bit more for you, like what that maybe looks like. Maybe that's also could be like small goals, like gym goals. Like I want to hit this in the gym, like for a weight, or I want to, be able to, if somebody's like, I want to do something for a race, right? Like I want to like finish a half marathon, like there's a lot of different kinds of goals out there, but I think of it as like a why behind it. Like as you have this goal, but like the fuel behind that goal, because I think of, even we talked about this, I think at one point, when we were both really like heavy into the dating and stuff like that, and we were trying to find somebody. And even when I was like dating Marissa right away, like and it still is like top of mind, but like it was like I had so much fuel to like not eat this and eat these, like to keep myself away.
Bro, we were looking our best.
Yeah, it's because like I wanted to be in my best self, right? Like and so like when you have that, it kind of puts it in perspective. It's like, oh shit, things are easy when you have that. It's like when you have that fuel, it's like, oh, it's so easy to stay away from this, and to like, to meal prep, and to, to find the things on the menu that fit into what's going to help you feel good and look good, right? Like it's super easy then. But like, I think a better question is like, what do you do when it's not easy? Like, what would you say there? Like when you're like, fuck, I don't have the fuel, or maybe like the fuel is there and now it's like, it's kind of the fire has gone down a little bit, and now it's like it's just barely there, right? You're not like, what do you say there?
Bro, the fuel's there when you're trying to, when your goal is to look good naked, right? Like the fuel is there. It's easy to make a decision and be like, bro, that one too many cheat meals is gonna, I know what I'm gonna look like, and she ain't gonna like that. And like, that's not gonna be presentable. So in that case, it's super easy to make those decisions. But you hit on a great point. It's like, what about when you're not in that scenario? When you don't have that extra little juice, people call it motivation, whatever you want. Like, I'm all about putting yourself, because let's be real. Let's face it. When you do have that juice and you do have that extra incentive, and that you talked about the why, and that why is like super crystal clear, it's fun riding that wave, but it is a wave and it does die out. So I'm all about like, how can we create that wave as much as possible, especially when you're starting. And if you're just starting, you kind of already have that wave because it's new. And so it's exciting. And you're like, this is different than what I'm used to doing. Although it's going to stretch me a little bit, it's something that it's new and it's fun. And I find myself getting little nuggets and progressing better, and getting it down to a simpler routine for myself, and I'm starting to see results, and that becomes addicting. And so you kind of create your own wave. But I'm all about like, how do you across the span of the entire 365, how do you put the percentages in your favor to feel like you're attracted and pulled to something, versus just being like, oh, I have to do this, or I'm supposed to do this. And if you're in that boat and you're in that scenario, or if like other people want it for you but you don't really want it, that's where you're going to feel like a ton of friction. So I think the verbiage that we use is super important when we're first initially establishing our goal. And this took me some time, and I had to learn this too. But there's a massive difference when we're talking about your why. There's a massive difference finding the things that you want slash desire. We can put those in the same category, versus you need to do something. So your needs are way different than a want and a desire. Like, let's say you're a car enthusiast, or let's use like the easy one. Do you need the Lambo or the sick house, or the respect from everybody, or the fame, or whatever it is? No. But if you want it or desire it, like, bro, you'll jump through hurdles. People will jump through hoops to try to do shit, right? And so if we know that we respond that way as a human, that we will go over, under, around, figure out a way for our wants and desires, not our needs. Like, it could be the thing that we need. Like, health and fitness could be the thing that we absolutely need because we know it's going to be beneficial for us. But if we don't really want it, that's why people fail, is because they're kind of just testing the water. So like, it would be cool if all the stars aligned, and like if the food was cooked for me, and like if I had a group to work out with me so I could feel motivated to go every day. Like, I know I need to get in shape, but I don't really want it. And those are the people that have a tough time. However, if there's people that are like, man, I want that because, and they can fill in their blank. I desire that. I truly desire that. I'm obsessed with that because, oh man, like, that's a totally different ball game. Now you're going to do everything and whatever it takes to be able to make the right decisions time and time again, and keep promises to yourself so that you get the outcome that you're desiring. But if it's just like, I need to do that because my doctor said that I need to do it, but I don't really care about it. Like, I'll get to it when I get to it. That mentality is not going to get it done. So there's a huge difference. I think it's super important to figure out, what do you want, and be totally okay with this too. I found this out. I was like, man, maybe that's selfish, or you kind of feel guilty if you like want or desire something. And like, people will give you shit for like, why do you want that? Like, why is that? I don't know. I just want it. But if you want it and you desire it, bro, like, you are going to go, you will literally do whatever it takes. Think about the last thing that you wanted or desired, not even health and fitness related. Like, bro, you found a way. Like, for me, I know when I was in the shopping for a bass boat, bro, I was losing sleep. I was up till like 3, 4 in the morning on like Boat Trader and Bass Boat Central and Facebook Marketplace. And I was researching the hell out of boat. I was like, dude, I'm going to find one. I'm going to find the money to find one. Like, and I was like in that boat, and because I wanted it. I desired it. I was like obsessed with it. And sure enough, I got one, and it's sitting in my driveway. Right. And so think about, like, if you can treat health and fitness like that, if people can like create this want and desire for their health and fitness, not just because they need to do it, but because they can attach some wants to it and like some desire. You just brought up the dating thing. It's like, bro, you and I both wanted to like look good naked. We wanted to be presentable. We wanted the whole look factor to not even be an issue, for girls to be like, oh yeah, like I want him. And so that was easiest for us to make decisions. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's it.
Bro, you got me fired the fuck up. That's, that's like that. I think anybody out there is like fired up right now, listening, watching this, just because that was good. That was really good. That is, I mean, it's so true. Like it's the need thing. It has to get to the level of so much pain. I think on the need side, right? It's like if you get told crazy news at the doctor, maybe that need is now like turned into a desire because it's like I need it so bad, like otherwise I'm gonna die, right? It's like sometimes you see that where it's like I got told these news, and then but then like sometimes that's like the desire to be around for your children, right? It's like finding like it's like, oh, I was diagnosed with this disease, and if I don't change my life around, like I'm gonna be dead soon, right? Like, and then you think about your kids, and it's like I want to be around for them. That's the desire. So it's not necessarily like the health and fitness that's the need. It's just like the desire to be around for your kids, the desire to look good naked, the desire to like be able to like win a bodybuilding competition, or like these like different things that people want. But it also comes back to honesty, right? We've talked about this on many podcasts, but like bullshitting yourself is not gonna do you any good, because then like it's not actually a desire, it's like somebody else's desire, it's somebody else's like want, right? And you might be good for like a little bit. Like I'm sure all of us have had that before, where it's like you're rearing to go right away, you got that start, and then like it just falls off because it wasn't actually something you wanted, right? Like you fall off of all the habits, and it's like you can't get yourself to get up and go to the gym or whatever it may be, right? And so it's like being truly honest with what you really want and not being afraid to go after what you want, right? Like that's the key. It might not look good to other people or whatever, but fuck them. Like it doesn't matter. Like it's your goal, right? It's your desire, it's your want. um you got to figure out what it is that is truly going to drive you, because otherwise you're not going to achieve anything, right? You're just gonna, and if you do, it's going to be empty at the end, right? It's not going to really matter because it didn't mean anything to you, right? Even if you do end up achieving these goals that you don't want, that somebody else wants. And so I think that's really good, dude. That's you got me fired up. You got me
Bro,
fired
it's
up.
literally the difference, bro. Like I've there's so many circumstances where I've like either I thought I wanted something or I needed to do something. Bro, that shit doesn't last. And or like somebody else wanted something more than I did, and like so then I was like, oh, I probably should do that because they say that I'd be good at it. So like with a job, for example, I'm thinking in the past, right? Like I had a bunch of people saying, oh, I'd be really good at this position, and so like I was like, oh yeah, like that's cool. I guess I'll apply for it, and because you guys are saying that I'm good for it, and that I I'd be a great candidate, and I didn't want that shit, right? So like I don't do anything to like push myself to find it desirable or anything, and like that's just like in my gut, my intuition. Like I didn't want that job. I ended up getting it, like, but dude, I was there very short. I was like, dude, this sucks. I don't want this shit. But if you think back to anything that you actually, and you don't even have to have a reason why. Like that's the crazy part. Like you'll know when you want something. Like I used the bass boat for example. Like we're talking about health and fitness. That's why I encourage people to dig deeper than surface level if they want to look good and feel good in their health and fitness, like how you and I are talking about. Because if they can, I know if they can find that want and desire, bro, their decision making and their process is so much easier. When you're out at that party or that get together or whatever, and you want something, you're like, and this is another thing too, is like, bro, it's okay to want to look like a fucking Spartan. It's okay to like want to have abs. It's okay to want, you're not selfish for wanting that. I think people need to get that out of their mind of like, oh, I'm going to be looked at as like an egotistical, like jock, meathead, stupid idiot. Like if I look like, if I tell people I actually want to look like that, I'm going to get judged. It's like, bro, people are going to judge you anyways. Like if you want that shit, go for it. Because if you truly want that, I promise you, you're this decision makings when you're at the crossroads and you're at that social event, you're at the wedding, you're at the birthday party, and like people are like, oh, why aren't you eating cake or what? It won't even be a second thought in your head. You'd be like, I don't give a fuck about that cake, dude. I'm gonna have washboard abs. Like that's way more important to me. And I'm just using this to paint an example, but I'm saying it's okay to want certain shit. Like give yourself freedom to like want and desire things, because when you give yourself that freedom, the likelihood of you achieving it and just the decisions you'll make on a daily basis are going to be completely aligned. Like it's so easy. Like think about, you could think back in like if you had a crush on somebody in school, like back in the day, like bro, you were going to do anything to like get them. Like you were going to handwrite notes, you were going to like lay out a carpet, you were going to put your brand new jacket on the ground for her over a puddle. Like bro, you were going to do anything, you know, like you were going to try to sit next to her in class. Like like if you can make your journey like that and go, okay, I want this thing. What do I truly want? And like, why do I want it? Like, how's that going to change things for me? Like, damn, that is so dope. Like that is what I truly desire. You'll be off to the races. But I think people try to lean into their needs too much, or they think they're going to get judged for wanting a certain thing or looking a certain way. So they kind of back off it and go, uh, well, I'd rather not hear the opinions of others and get judged for the thing that I truly want. So I guess I really don't want that. I'll think of something else. I'll think of something that I won't get judged for. It's like, bro, you just ditched your whole thing that you actually truly want for the sake of somebody else's bullshit ass opinion, you know? And we all do it. I'm saying that because I've thought that way too. You know, I've thought of like, oh, I might be too egotistical if I really want that, or like, but at some point you just got to say, in the most polite way, you got to say fuck them and go for what you want. And if you can have that kind of clarity towards your goals, things will move out of your way. Like you will go down like with a roaring pace and just a blistering pace towards what you truly desire and want. It's a different ball game when you do it. And so that's why I encourage everybody to like really lean into, hey, no judgment, but like, what do you want? What do you truly desire? Because if that's your goal and you really want that shit, the likelihood of you getting it when you face speed bumps, not if, but when, like you will moonwalk over your speed bumps. You'll hurdle over them. Like, but if you're going after your needs, you kind of don't want that shit anyways. Like, so you're kind of looking for a way out, you know, you're kind of looking for the first speed bump to use as an excuse to stop your journey. You know, it's totally different.
Dude, money, money. Yeah, like it is crazy just how night and day it is when you actually like you have some crazy thing driving you, like how easy decisions are, as opposed to like wanting something that you really don't actually want or going after something you really don't want. And so yeah, I mean I would encourage just anybody to take that exact advice. Like give yourself some space today, this weekend, whenever it would be, to just think about what you actually truly want and desire. And then like when you have something that really fuels you, you can start putting together a plan of attack, work back from there, start with small habits. And it's going to be so much easier to get through that when you have something like a North Star that's actually truly driving you, that you want so bad. Like it's going to change the game. And so like take everything that Matt said on this podcast. It is absolute gold. This has been really, really amazing. It's been good for me too, just to like hear that as well. Like such great perspective. And do you have anything else to end on here, Matt?
No, not other than what you just said, is the importance of finding your want and your desire. You brought up a great point there at the end, is like, once you have that clarity and you know what that thing is, the action plan that you can create now, and you just chunk backwards, like what you were talking about. Now you literally have a roadmap and know exactly what to do, versus like, oh man, I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed and I hope I land on this thing because I kind of want it. It's like, dude, you're not gonna get there. And so if you have this crystal clean vision of like, okay, that's my North Star, I truly want that, my desire for that, it runs deep in my veins, chunk backwards, just like Alex said. Now you got a game plan and you can start with your first action step here and now. And you got your treasure map now. You're ready to rock and ready to move forward and get whatever you truly want and desire, man. So yeah, if that was helpful for you guys, hopefully share that. We talk about this stuff because it's also a reminder to ourselves that we need to wake up sometimes and go after the things that we truly want and desire. Today's pod was great, man, about goals, creating a destination, an action plan, and really solidifying and designating whether we truly want and desire, or if it's something that it's kind of just a need or a necessity that we're not too thrilled about. So yeah, share that with somebody if you guys got benefit from that. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And Alex and I will catch you guys on the next one.